What does Xanax feel like? This is a bar of Xanax. What does Xanax feel like? Oh, this also feels like a pill. Fascinating. No, just joking. But what does it feel like when you take it? Here it is. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. This is Xanax. It's a medicine that I am prescribed. It's a benzodiazepine. I am actually very pro medication. And Xanax has been always a very big tool in my life until recently. It is something that is diagnosed through anxiety. When you diagnosed with it, depending on the doctor, they can prescribe you a benzo. And one of the most common prescribed benzos is Xanax. And what does it feel like? When I take Xanax, I notice the effects within usually about 10 to 15 minutes. It actually hits my system a little bit quicker for whatever reason than what Adderall does. And you have to remember when it comes down to medications, all medications affect people differently. Our body, our DNA absorbs medications differently. So meds will affect people differently. For me, it's about 15 minutes when the Xanax kicks in. Now, I don't take a bar of Xanax. I actually take a quarter of a Xanax. And that's part of the reason I actually enjoy the bars is because I can measure my cuts if I have to take a Xanax a lot easier than I can trying to do a pill cutter. When I take Xanax, it feels almost like a warm blanket has been pulled over my chest. I can feel my heart and everything slow down because typically if I'm taking Xanax, I've gotten to the point that my anxiety's out of control. I can't ground myself. I feel like there's ants under my skin. I feel just goosebumps. I can feel my heart racing. I can feel it in my stomach. I'm having trouble breathing. I start to feel sick. My body isn't working right, and my fear in here has disassociated me so much that I don't feel like I'm in reality at all. I'm stuck in a loop of just constant fear, and everything is freaking me out. Where with this, it's all of a sudden like this comfort of a big blanket almost over me and a big deep sigh of just relief, and my brain is now breathing. Is the easiest way that I can describe what it's like. It feels like a weight on my brain has been lifted off. All the troubles of the world have been lifted off of my shoulder, and that everything's going to be okay. That is really what Xanax feels like to me. Once that hits into my system, now it does put me in almost sometimes too much of a relaxed mood where it's very difficult for me to get things done because I almost just want to curl up into a blanket and into a ball and like disappear from the world still. But it is a very calming feeling. It's a very relaxing feeling. It's almost like you go to your happy place by the ocean and everything is a lot more soothing. All that worry, all that fear, just all that tension that builds up in your muscles, all of a sudden it's all relaxed and it's all gone. And that's also, I think, why it's also as addictive as it can be, because it is a feeling that you can become addicted to. For me, I've never had a trouble or a challenge with benzos and being addicted to them, and I've never withdrawn from them. Even when I stopped taking benzos, I've never withdrawn from Xanax, but I do know many people that have. Again, it is also very addictive and habit forming. But for me, it was an amazing tool, and it was something that I needed sometimes to make it through just day by day. When the anxiety was too much, it was that comfort. It was that blanket. It was that warm light. It was okay. And it's very soothing. It's very relaxing. I didn't feel any of my body tense up. I didn't feel any sensories thrown off, appetite wise. I was never really hungry, but it also wasn't like I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt very relaxed. I felt very soothing. Breathing, I could get my breathing under control extremely quick. I could even focus on my breathing where when the anxiety was starting to go up, I couldn't slow the breathing down. And I'm trying to sit here, do breathing exercises. I'm like, this is not working. And then all of a sudden, as that breathing exercise isn't working, my anxiety is getting even higher. Where this, it removed it all. The only downside to it is sometimes I just want to curl into bed and just sleep, and I didn't want to do anything else. But when I took Xanax for the anxiety, it was a breath of fresh air. It's okay. It can do this, and life is going to be all right. Again, don't be afraid of medication. A lot of times when we go to a doctor and they do prescribe us meds, you got to remember they're tools. There is no shame in taking meds. And a lot of times we are pill shamed, and a lot of times we are shamed by family even of saying, hey, you don't need that. What are you taking that for? Oh, you're just taking that to get high. No, that's not the case. We're taking it just to make it through one day at a time. We're just trying to make it through life. And it is a fight sometimes. Do you have to stay on it your entire life? I'm not on it. In fact, when I did take Xanax, I took it as needed. So I didn't take it every single day. It was prescribed to me in a 30-day normal prescription, but I did not take it every single day, and I only took it when I needed it, which in bad months would maybe be 2 milligrams a month, which means I ended up actually, if you cut that down into 4 each, Well, it's not a whole lot of Xanax that was going into my system, thankfully, but it was there when I needed it. It helped me when I needed it, and it really relieved my brain. Was able to breathe, body was able to relax, no more throwing up, and I was able to make it and fight through. So if you're struggling out there, get with your doctor, get diagnosed, and if they put you on medication, remember it's trial and error to find out what works for you. Everything works for somebody a little bit differently, and we lose that sometimes. So it is trial and error for you. And you know what? For some people, this allows them to be an adult. This allows them to get outside of the house. And for other people, this is a deadly addiction. So you have to also be careful. But you matter. You're important. And when it comes down to it, it's finding out what works for you. So when you find what works for you, life becomes a hell of a lot simpler. And you got this. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, hit that like and subscribe button. I'd love to have you along for the journey.